so
that you
clean.
plug in?
Yeah, it's always plugged in. So when I do video calls and anything, people are always like, "Whoa, it sounds so good." It only cost me $110, and it's epic. So if you ever wanted to do like a talk to camera or even like a podcast, if you got two of them, it makes such a difference. But
I do actually have one there, but
just don't like using it.
well, it's not a dual thing. You don't need a mixer and stuff. How does it work?
You just it depends. Like because it's connected to the computer, I'll just click record.
Oh, yeah. But could you plug 2 in?
Yeah, you can plug 4 in.
Could you plug 5 in?
Maybe.
No.
No. No. Draw a line at 4.
All right, cool. So
I always start.
I won't do an intro because I'll do an intro separately.
Yeah.
But pretty much I'll let you introduce yourself. But to frame this conversation, we're going to talk about the nature immersion we just went on and your personal experience. Because what I found was there was 5 of us there and we all went with a certain intention and we all came home with probably a different thing in mind than what we had in mind, right? And I really enjoyed talking to Lockie because he was a dad, a businessman, going away for a bit of a sigh of relief. You come away I'll let you talk about that, but I'm really interested to see sort of the before, during and after. So I reckon, could you talk into where you were at before and even talk into how we were going back and forth about you being apprehensive to come in the first place?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm just trying to actually go back to the before, because you asked me really late. I had I had a few days to think about it, what I'd do, because it was either that or go to the footy club pre-season camp, which I was kind of like, I've already committed to the footy camp and that's going to be a connection thing that will stem throughout the whole year. Or do I do something like this retreat for 4 days, which is going to be something that could be just as valuable, but on more of like a personal scale for the year going forward. And I think the idea of going away and actually getting away from my phone and getting away from everything else and not having any of those distractions was something I needed, but also wanted. So yeah, once I had that feeling, I knew I wanted to do the retreat over the camp, but I think it was more, I've already said yes to this, so I feel like I should follow through. But no, it was exactly what I needed. Since starting to do my own stuff, I'm spending more time at home, spending more time in front of my computer, which then just transitions into my phone very easily, especially when you're sitting there and it's all just in front of you. So a lot of screen time, a lot of home time. And so to be able to step away for, basically 3-4 days, not have screens, not have distractions, not have any idea what time it was like just what I needed. And I think further to that too, knowing who was going, that helped me as well, because I knew that everyone that was going, there was something I wanted to get from those people. And so I knew that I'd get a lot more out of it than what I guess I probably thought beforehand. Dylan and I have been getting closer and closer over the last few years now. You're stepping into your truest power and you're in a stage of building, which is sort of what I'm trying to do too. So there was a lot that I wanted to absorb from that. And then Lockie was basically an old mentor of mine. And so to get him in a space like that where we had that quality time together, it was just perfect. So it was just great to switch off and be around everyone and just figure it all out. I think I really loved as well, day one, I knew we were going to get into some really deep philosophical conversation, and it took 10 minutes in the car before we started. And then, the first day was a lot of that. And then as the trip went on, it dwindled, but that turned into, you notice more of the big kid energy coming out of all of us. We had to be bored, and in doing that, you had to find something to do, and bouncing off each other. I think it was just perfect, and I think the energy that we had there was awesome. But yeah, grateful I went, and it was just what I needed. And yeah, I think just slowing down and actually letting your brain catch up and think about where things are at, as opposed to just being in fight or flight, was perfect. So kind of sad that I can't do that for the first time ever again. There's nothing like the first time. So I'm grateful I went, and yeah, it was fucking epic.
Okay, cool. You just painted the picture really well.
Did I?
Yeah, and completely different. Like I've done these for myself before, and even I have an intention myself going into these. Even though I'm a host, I still get to enjoy moments of stillness and the conversation and hanging out with friends, like you said. But I just love how different your intentions were going in.
Mm.
And it was perfect proof for me to go, Laffer's feeling like he can get more out of himself. Like you could sense this potential. You needed a bit of space to allow clarity to drop in, or just to give yourself like a bit of room to chill. It's pretty obvious that that's how you felt leading into it. And then you got that moment, and it's not like you've come back and everything that you were dealing with is solved. It's just almost like you've got a new sort of baseline to operate from, or it's like you can tell what's clear now, or what, when we're away and we didn't have a phone, no lights, we ate well and we chilled out a bit, all those things made us all feel amazing. So coming back, we should really be incorporating those things as much as we possibly can. And I know a big one for you is like, I just want to get in a good rhythm, good routine. Like that's pretty easy to avoid or to ignore when you're breaking a world record and running this huge organization that's in the mental health space. It's pretty easy to get caught up in all that and then not to look after yourself as well, which is like a bit of a theme that we're talking about, where you're running a business and telling people to look after themselves, and then it's easy for you to not actually prioritize yourself as well, because that happens to me. I'm essentially telling people to reduce your technology use, or to get outside more. All the things I'm preaching, I live and I participate in that stuff every single day. So it's probably common, but it's nice to admit it, and then people can see that like it's real, and we're all dealing with it, and we've all got challenges. So yeah, it's cool to it's because I actually thought I was almost a bit ashamed to admit all that stuff, but then you come along and that's literally like you've admitted that you could be looking after yourself more when your message is for people to look after yourself more. So yeah, that's cool. It's cool to hear it from your perspective, and also good on you for making the call instead of going to footy, because you had paid for it. You told the coaches, and I really wanted you to come, not just to fill a spot, but I was like, you are actually the person that I want to bring away, exactly the position you're in, and it was a perfect test run, and you came away, and like it was better than I thought. And I'm so happy that you had a good time and got a lot out of it. Yeah, and then let's not forget George.
Yeah.
Like it was cool to connect with all of us and deepen relationships, but you actually got to meet Jordan, a new person, and what a legend. We all got heaps out of him as well. Like how cool is it to actually have a 5-hour conversation with a random person, and now he probably feels like a brother forever. You'll be in contact forever now. So I'm really excited actually. That's something I didn't really think of, is creating whoever comes away on these things is creating like a little community for that will be, they might not keep in touch, but it might be one connection. I'm like, that's a byproduct of this whole thing, because my message is to come away and look after yourself. And then all of a sudden you've got lifelong friendships and stuff, which is fucking cool as.
It is. Yeah. It is cool. And yeah, it was cool to have Jordan there. I think one thing I noticed looking back at myself before that trip was I always felt so withdrawn from socializing, even, the bare minimum, even just seeing people who I like to be around. I just felt like I couldn't do it a lot of the time. And I look back on it and I feel like that could be a lot to do with the phone. I'm always looking and seeing what people are doing. Not always, but frequently I'm looking and seeing what other people are doing, what's going on. And just looking at that screen, it just makes your brain start to turn to mush. And then when you return back to the world, and you just feel fucked, I guess. And so I just never felt like I had the capacity to be around even people who I love being around, or just even new people. And it was just completely zapping me. But when we were away, being around you guys was awesome. And then when Jordan came in, I'm making you reflect on it, you probably pick up on it, but I was drawn to him straight away. I just wanted to know a bit about him. Like I asked him, what are 3 interesting facts about yourself? I actually was genuinely really curious to get to know someone. And I feel like a lot of that came from the fact of not having the screens there, just like absolutely zapping my brain, but just having to be in the present moment with everyone and not having those distractions and those things that were taking me away from the world. And it allowed me to actually create a bond with this person who I just met. But yeah, I just feel like social media and just phone use can do that to you. I feel like it takes so much of your brain capacity to doom scroll. It genuinely rots your brain, and it can take away from your social skills, even just socializing in general. But yeah, I guess reflecting on it, I just really enjoyed having him walk in. Whereas sometimes I'd be quite withdrawn and I'd probably rather just stick to myself and hide away. But there was just so many things to take away from that trip in terms of how I felt, what clarity came through, just the conversations we had, and just seeing people in a different light. Like, without throwing Lockie under the bus, I know that he was pretty.
Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him actually. He
No
was
offense.
always quite stuck to his phone, and I've had a lot of conversations with him in the past where I felt like I couldn't really have him with me. And so to have that weekend to be around him, that was the most fun I've ever had with him, I reckon. And just, I realized so many similarities between he and I can see why, once upon a time he was that person I reached out to when I felt like I was lost or stuck, because there's so much similar between us in terms of our deep philosophical thinking, but then also just this big kid energy, this playful nature. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to have a fine balance between both. You need to have both, in my opinion. You can't be one or the other all the time. And yeah, that was really epic to be around that as well. So it's just amazing how much a phone can ruin people's lives in your lives, and you don't often realize it until you realize it, because you're always just stuck in it. It's just a flow state. It's just normal. You wake up, what's going on around the world? Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. An hour later, oh, I should probably get up and do something. You've just lost an hour of your day right there. And what did you gain from it? Maybe a few news articles, but other than that, not a whole lot. So yeah, it's just crazy how it's taken over the world. And you even talk into friendships and stuff, and there's none of that. What have you been up to anymore? It's always, oh, I saw you did this, I saw you did that. And it ruins a bit of the excitement around seeing your friends, because you always know what's going on. You know everything that's happening. There's no checking in to be done anymore. It's just asking about how that was. And that's something that I do miss. I do miss just not knowing something about someone and checking in and being like, oh, cool, I didn't realize you did that. Like, that's cool. And that's something that stands out to me quite frequently. Yeah.
Fuck, I suppose that's exactly what we felt when we were away. Like when you were saying we got in the car and we all drove up together, and straight away we were all talking, but it was at this pace where the anticipation was too much, and it's almost as though you had to jump in and say your piece, because that's the pace of things. Because if you do pass someone in the street, it's a quick interaction. Or if you catch up with someone, it's an hour over coffee. There's heaps to talk to each other about. So we were going for like probably 4 hours straight. We just blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, it's almost as though we got it all out of our system. And then you start to see these different versions of each other. And then, to me, by the end of the trip, we got it all completely out of our system, and more would have uncovered the longer we were there. But it was nice to see a different version of you. Even Lockie, you talking about Lockie, I've known Lockie for 15 years. I've never seen him like that. And I was like, fuck, that is the Lockie. That's the real Lockie, which I've only ever known him because I go into the gym and see him in business, and he's busy. And that was really nice to see his true nature. And even to see my true nature come out as well. To feel it in myself. And one of the biggest things is being out there without a phone, without distractions. One is, seeing that in other people and getting that raw version of them, but also seeing what drops in for you. I feel like some of us would just like sit there long enough and go, oh fuck, I just had a realization, which probably never have happened if you're like, I'm going to pick up my phone and ignore that channel. I'm going to ignore that thought or not let that thought in. And actually, when you say you don't know until you know, I personally think that a lot of people are never going to know, and they'll pass away. They'll grow old and would have spent a very long amount of time either on screens or even not even screens. Like, if I get over my thing about screens, anything that they think is actually important or life-giving, there's lots of things that are life-taking, and you can spend years and years and get to the end, and you wouldn't even lie there in a deathbed and be like, fuck, that thing like really had a grip on me and I'm unfulfilled. You would just die and be like, oh, that's what life was. But I think there's more magic out there, and I think we're very distracted from it. And I just think that these weekends, these moments away are perfect to drop into it and feel what that is. It's nothing crazy, but it's just like it feels like a different pace through your whole body. Leaving on the last day, I think we enjoyed it more and more as time went. And I think you even said, you're like, I wish we could stay longer. Yeah.
Well, I thought, I think I said this. I thought by the end of it, I was going to be pretty fucking sick of you all. I was like, I can't wait to get home and like get me away from these guys. But by the last day, it was just like I just settled in, and I was like, I could do this for weeks. I could be here and do this. This is a great way of living. And obviously, yes, you need to make a living. You need to earn money. You need to do all these things, right? But just to be in that sort of situation, in that environment, it's just, you could see how important it is. It's, I sent you a message the other day and you elaborated to me about it. It's sometimes when life is chaotic, or most of the time when it is chaotic, and you've got so much going on, and, people are burning out and, starting to feel shitty, depressed, whatever it is, they feel like they've got to add something else in order to try and fix everything else. But this weekend perfectly proves that it's not about adding more. It's actually about stripping everything away, almost allowing yourself to stop simmering and just get back to this like calm state, back to baseline as we call it. And then you can start to slowly implement things and do it in a way that's healthy and that's actually going to serve you well in the long run. And that's what I thought was really, really cool, was getting back. And, I remember when you were dropping me off and you were about to turn right, and this car's just zoomed past us because they were just too impatient. And I just remember seeing that, just being like, holy shit, all that for 5 extra seconds of their day that, given how much they're rushing, what's it going to give them? But, I went to the shops that night too, and I just felt like I was a sloth. I just was like casually walking around, and I felt so zenned out. It was great. And it's not until you actually give yourself a chance to remove everything and get to baseline when you realize that everything is just moving so quickly, and you're just like in that because you're surrounded by it. It's so easy to get caught out in. So it was so cool. It was so cool.
I think also, man, that was a really cool insight from you. And also, so a few things. You were at the beach that night because you're like, I fucking went. Maybe not that night.
That was the day after. I think,
but
2 days later.
You said you go, I went down to the beach and had a swim and then went home, and that would have typically been a moment where you would have just sat there and scrolled. Mm-hmm. But because you've got a taste of it now, and you know that it's going to serve you and it's going to feel better, you actually went out to the ocean and you came back home. And like that's just a tool that you have forever now, because what you're talking about, the franticness and the pace of it all, it shows up as subtle things that you can't make the connection. It shows up as anxiety, social anxiety, or it shows up as comparison, which you might not even realize, but that's why someone's not taking action towards something that they want, because they're fear of judgment, or like, this person knows more than me, or who am I to, that whole comparison loop people get caught in. That's what this shit shows up as when things are moving a million miles an hour. And you never stop. I really like how you said to simmer down. Yeah. That's what it felt like. We just simmered down, and then we're like, okay, cool, reset. And then you can blast forward in your life when you get back or whatever, but it's just going, well, I'm going to go to the beach tonight because I know it makes me feel better. I'm going to stay off my phone when it's dark because I know it's better for my sleep. Like, we all slept pretty well when we were there.
Oh, absolutely. So good.
Out so like good. A log, just all night, 8 hours. So
however many hours it was. I wasn't checking the time.
Yeah, we didn't have any clocks.
No, that was so cool. That was the best fun.
Okay, yeah. So
because like people put pressure on time. Oh my god, like, what time is it now? It's 2:30 in the afternoon. I don't have time to do all this stuff. It's like, if we didn't have the time now, I'd think I've still got 10 hours left of the day and I can still do whatever the hell I want. And that's all. Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting how that's how we operate.
I fucking just love that this is something for people to come back to, and it's like, hey, it's all good. You can chill out, and it's like you said, it's actually about probably doing less, and not just accepting that this is a pace. I'm fucking looking at my clock, because you're right. It could have been 3 p.m, and we figured it out because we're like, oh, the sun's about up there in the sky, and we're getting hungry. Prepare dinner, but it wasn't like, all right, we'll do dinner in an hour, and then you're rushing around. So it completely changes everything. So when you think about how artificial society is, or how it's built out based on expectations of, got to be here at this time, got to do a million things. I don't know, just I think it's worth considering how we're moving through the world and like being in touch with the rhythm of nature more.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's the anchor.
Yeah.
Not to just be a full-blown hippie and go live out in the woods or whatever. Do that. I might do that one day. But like you said, it's probably having both. It's using technology and the system to build a life. While you're doing it, though, don't let yourself and your health not be the priority. Mm-hmm. And to me, making it a priority is going for a swim at the beach or eating good food or saying I'm going to fucking have a good daily routine and doing it. Which I know that's something you've got into. So, man, can you tell us like a couple of moments that you really enjoyed that were unique? That you know, you mentioned that you enjoyed not knowing the time, so we didn't have the time.
Yeah, I reckon.
Do you have a couple that you can chat about?
Sure. I mean, so many moments. I'll almost try and go day by day. I reckon the first night, because my first instinct was like, oh, these guys are going to get up early, so they're going to go to bed early. We were just chatting by the fire and we just kept going and going and going. And there was no comment around, oh, we should probably go to bed soon. It was just, we kept chatting until we were just eventually like, oh, we all started to, we noticed the conversation start to dwindle down and we're like, let's go to bed. But that first night, the conversations within that were beautiful. Seeing you and Lockie talk about something, which I think in hindsight was probably, you were both correcting what you were saying, but I think you were slightly off in terms of what you were both saying. I think they were slightly different, but
as in we're pretty much saying the same thing from.
Yeah, that was about the movies and time spent in front of screens. And anyway, that I was just tuning into that, and that was really fascinating to watch as well. That was really fun. But just sitting by that fire, and even just like not having lights on, so we have complete freedom to just flick on a light if we need to go to the toilet because you want to see where you're pissing, right? But we were so committed to the cause, you'd be walking around with a lighter and you could barely see a foot in front of you trying to find where the toilet was. Like, so unusual. And we just normalized it straight away. We didn't think it was funny. It was just, we just accepted that that's how it was going to be. And that was awesome. I think for me, waking up that next morning after that was pretty tired. I reckon we went to sleep pretty late. I just couldn't tell you what time we got up. You'd started the fire inside and I'm pretty sure you were just chilling outside, maybe with Lockie, I can't even remember. And I was just sitting inside, had no distractions, had no phone obviously, and I was just sitting there staring at the fire or staring at the ground, just letting my brain do its thing. And I didn't feel rushed, I didn't feel pressure, I just was I couldn't even tell you what I was thinking about, but it was really peaceful to do that. And then occasionally I'd stand up, walk around, maybe go outside, see what you guys were chatting about, and go back inside, sit down there and just ponder again. And I had so much enjoyment just pondering and letting my brain do its thing. And like I said, I didn't really get much from it. Nothing that stands out to me now, but just to sit there and be okay with doing that. I would have been there for probably an hour and was totally okay with it. And yeah, it's really cool to think about because traditionally I would have just spent an hour probably doom scrolling. But it was really cool to just allow myself to sit there and not feel pressure or guilty about doing that. What else was there? The food was awesome. I hated that you wanted to get photos and videos of every single meal because I just wanted to eat it straight away. But I was like, oh, sweet, I get to eat it. You're like, oh, we got to take a photo first. And I was like, oh my God.
Got to showcase it to
I know, which is like, yeah. I get it. I understand why, but far out, dude. Like, the food was so good. And that was a big highlight of the whole weekend for me.
Compliments to the chef.
Yeah, compliments to the chef. Yeah. At least smashed it.
Yeah, she did.
The oats and the beef, what do you call it?
Oh, beef cheek.
The chuck.
Beef cheek or beef chuck,
whatever
yeah.
It was,
the last slow cooked
epic.
Beef chuck on the last night, yeah.
Far out.
Oh man, that night so that day we just did a really big hike.
Yeah,
horrendous.
We did.
It was about 10k or whatever it was, blistering heat up really like a kilometre of elevation. And we came home and everyone was really hungry, and you just cut up a watermelon into like 4 pieces, and everyone had just this massive piece of watermelon, and then also these huge sticks of jerky. And everyone's eating it. I'm like, I'm cooking dinner soon, everyone. Like, chill out. And then you said to me, it'll get eaten, trust me. And I was like, nah, dude, that's a lot of watermelon and jerky. Anyway, I didn't have any watermelon or jerky. And we all sat around the fire to eat it when it was cooked. And I sat there eating it slowly. And I was like, I'm actually kind of full. I don't know how these guys are going to eat it. And pretty much by the time I got halfway through, you were like drinking the juices out of the bowl. You were like, I told you I'd eat it all.
you guys all went down to the river, and I quickly went inside because you told me there was a bit more in the
You
pot
ate
still,
more?
and I kept just like I was just going at it. It was so good.
How is that?
But again, it gives you, when you're talking about the world and how we live now, we just eat because we have to eat and we get hungry, right? But to have gone out on a hike and to have some really good quality food, it amplified the enjoyment aspect of the food. And I think that's why I really enjoyed it so much, was because we're eating such good food. We were quite intentional with our days. Like, we would spend a lot of time relaxing, but then would go, you'd get this urge to go and do something. So we'd push over a dead tree or go for a swim or whatever we wanted to do. And it was really fun. And then when it came to eating, you were just able to be together. And I think we spoke about this on that weekend too. And if anyone does listen to this part, how often do you go on your phone when you're eating? So often. I think so many people do it, whether they're aware of it or not, because it's just easy. It's an easy thing to do. You're not moving. You're in that moment, you're just eating. Let's just have a look and see what's going on. You've eaten the meal without actually observing what you're eating, why you're eating it, and what it's giving you. And yeah, to be able to, on this trip, to be able to actually sit there and thoroughly enjoy this meal around good people in a beautiful place was just like epic. So that all those moments of eating together was iconic for me. And the steaks for dessert too, that was sick. Do you remember that? The three big rumps?
A few spare steaks on the last night.
Yeah.
That's right. So after the watermelon, the jerky, the beef cheek,
Yeah.
and then you had more beef cheek, and then you pretty much ate
kiwi and dark chocolate.
Yeah, and steak. Like, we were well fed.
Yeah.
And did you notice how, I don't know what you're like usually with snacking or eating junk food or whatever. I didn't hear anyone really say, I'm craving junk food. Everyone just ate what was there and got a lot out of it. Super satiated all day.
Yep.
Which is another thing. And yeah, like you said, eating and paying attention to what you're eating too. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
And we ate meals outside.
Yep.
So getting direct sunlight can also affect how you digest food. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you're inside and you're on a phone and you're not even paying, sometimes, like I've done it, I still do it sometimes, and I'll eat a meal and I'll be like, I don't even remember what I just ate. I don't even know what it tastes like. So yeah, your senses kick in a bit differently when you're out there, and that's the only thing you're paying attention to.
Yeah. So that was epic too. And then if I think about more moments, like there's so many. I could go into talking about the tunnel. The tunnel was fun, just like being in a tunnel where you could not see anything, like nothing. And the sound was obviously quite warped because you're surrounded by walls. It was really cool.
So the tunnel was like this.
Yeah.
It was cut through a mountain. It was a man-made tunnel to redirect water for the river. And there's a bird on the roof. It's just thrown me. The tunnel was about 150 meters long, 200 meters long. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I think so. And we had no shoes on. It was pitch black. Couldn't see ahead of us. All we could do was feel. And like, I was shitting myself. I wouldn't have done that, but because someone was leading the way, I think it was Lockie, being brave.
Yeah.
He had Crocs on.
Yeah, true.
I felt comfortable, but we're all giggling and touching each other and
Paul grabbed my ass.
that was out of the tunnel.
Intentional. And, sorry.
And it actually felt like we were in there, no joke, for an hour.
Yeah.
And Dylan's just put the video together, and he said we're in there for 15 minutes.
Which is crazy because that's up and back.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't feel, but again, it's just time warps when you're out there. It's completely different.
And yeah, because you become so present, especially when you're doing that. You're so aware of, I can only feel. Feeling's like my own, like I can hear stuff still, but feeling is the one sense I'm relying on here. And you can hear us all giggling. And, there was a point where we were getting towards the end and you say to me, you're like, dude, you can stand up. Because I'm like crouched over like a little gremlin trying to find my way through because I can't see.
And you could like touch the roof up this high.
And you managed to do that. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was just, going through like this and you're like, dude. But that was really fun as well. That was a really cool experience because you don't often get to do something like that.
Yeah, it's like you said, being big kids, just dropping into this play state, that's the frequency I think is worth tapping into more and more because life can be very serious. I wouldn't think about going and doing that, but we had the capacity to do it because we had nowhere else to be, and we were pushing our comfort zone a little bit, and then we did it, and we all said that was a great experience. So, and even now, I think that's something we'll talk about forever as well.
And I think as well, that's a big compliment to the group you're with too, because it's all well and good to, like, I'm big on emphasizing the importance of being a big kid and being curious and playful, it's hard to do that in certain settings. I think some people are so locked into what their life is like or whatever, and to see someone else or see an adult be a big kid and playful can be like, to them it could be perceived as quite immature or whatever they want to see it as. But we had a really good setting where everyone was really, everyone made each other feel comfortable and safe to do so, and it probably helped that we're all very similar. But yeah, it just allowed us to do what we want. And if you start to really dive into the thinking about being a big kid and being curious and playful, you'd probably know more so as a parent yourself, but kids are they're learning so much all the time, and they're always curious and playful because there's so many new things that are going on in their world that is new, and it's the first time that they get to see or do it. And for us, we've seen and done a lot. We lose that first time experience a lot when we grow up. And then I think further to that, our curiosity starts to die away. And so then you're just living every day the exact same, and you're not getting that stimulation of something new, something fun, something exciting or playful, whatever. And so of course you're going to feel stagnant because you're not doing anything that's playful and fun. I think Lockie said it when we were away, was that kids on average will laugh over 100 times a day, and adults will laugh less than 10 times a day. And straight away it's already saying that we're not living a life that's creating enough enjoyment for ourselves, because we're obviously expected to get up and do our 9 to 5, go home, eat, go to bed, do it all again. But life doesn't have to be done that way. You've got so much time to do whatever you want, whether you want to create your own business or pursue your goals and dreams, or go out there and be a big kid and be playful, and do the things that actually make you want to smile and laugh and fulfill you for who you are. And I think that there's not enough of that going on around the world, and that's a big part of what I'm going to try and really share with the world, is to be able to embrace that. And I think that we did that perfectly while we were away. There's a lot of stuff on camera that not everyone will see. I think it was just us really letting go and letting our childish, we'll leave it at childish, letting our childish side really come out in just a bizarre way. But it created so many laughs. Like, we were laughing so much throughout that trip too. And I think that was a really important thing for me as well. So,
man, what a beautiful reflection.
So cool.
I really like that. And grateful that we had the opportunity to walk into the cave as kids.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. Felt like we were kids. First time doing something, the excitement. It wasn't the daily grind. It was just taking us outside of our adult state of mind.
Yeah.
Because that's what my kids are like all the time. Forrest is like, yeah, let's go do this. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'll go do it. But probably done it before, so it's not that exciting. But probably the excitement I felt in that tunnel is what he feels every day.
Yeah.
He wakes up and he'll just be like in play mode.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, that's a great state of mind to be in as a human. When you're privileged and you've met all those the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when you start moving up and transcending each level, being in that play state that's a much better place to build your life from than a state of stress and desperation and or stagnation and boredom. When you're in a play state, you can think creatively, and then you get to, it's like it opens you up to more opportunity, more choice for how you want to build your life. But yeah, I think a lot of the time, and I've been in it, where I'm doing something that's expected of me, or I've just been conditioned to think, oh, I've got to get this kind of job and buy this house and get this debt and live this way. That wasn't from that play state, I'd say. That came from me being like, I'm an adult now, I better do what adults are doing. So I'm so grateful that we had that moment, and the fact that you've just said, I want to incorporate more of those moments as you go through. Man, there's so many things that not trying to take all the credit for it, but the fact that you've had that experience and that's a new perspective that you've got coming out of it, I just think there's another unexpected thing. I'm like, what a cool takeaway is to experience that, and then to take that on and to share that with the world as well. It's I'm stoked for you.
There was, not that it should be something I try and think about, but I try and think about any potentially negative experience or any part of the trip that I was a bit like, oh yeah, that probably wasn't something I needed. But I don't think there's anything.
I know one.
What is it?
Well, you nearly bashed me on the mountain.
Oh yeah.
I mean, looking back.
Oh yeah.
That's what we call secondhand fun.
But I just said then a negative experience, and at that moment, yeah, I fucking hated it. Like, it was the worst thing ever.
Just talk about what it was.
Briefly. So I think going into this trip, right, I was really heavily emphasizing slowing down and just really getting myself back to a really relaxed baseline level, gain some clarity, whatever. And so you'd organised the hike to do on day 3, so the day before we left. And I thought, oh yeah, cool. You said 15k hike. I was like, geez, okay, well, it better be flat. And we drove 45 minutes. We get to where we're starting. We nearly got lost straight away. We ended up finding the track, and straight away it was just this hill, and it wasn't even like this little hill where you just slide in like slope. You're looking up, like my neck was whipped back just trying to look at the top, and I was like, oh my god. And I started, I'm like, it's fine, like it'll level out. And we got to the top, which I thought was going to be the top, but it was the first top that we got to, and then from then it was just flat, and then another hill like this, and it was just all these hills. It was pretty much just relentless uphill walking, and very much underprepared mentally and physically for it. And I think for me, it triggered me a lot because I really just wanted to relax and take it easy, and I thought we were just going to be doing like a walk through nature, and yes, it would tire us out, but I didn't think it would be that hard. And so yeah, to go into that, my heels started to get blisters. I was just like, Paul, this is fucked. I was like walking on my own. I'm not going to share exactly everything that was going through my head, but You
did say out loud that you wanted to belt me.
Did I?
Yeah.
I didn't mean it.
No, I think you did at the moment.
Well, I reckon if there was any moment I was ever going to beat you, it probably would have been then, because I was fucking raging. I was fuming, and I just kept trying to tell myself like the good from it, but I was really battling in that, because I just was like, this is not what I wanted. I wanted to be relaxed, and this is really like jacking me up, and I didn't need that. But yeah, we got to the point where we had an optional loop at the end, which was at the halfway point, and straight away I was like, nah, we're not doing this. I think Dill wanted to. I was like, there's no way. I've got no water. It's 30 odd degrees. I'm probably sunburnt. I'm so hungry. Not that it's all about me, but I'm like, we can't do this. Like, we've got to get back. And honestly, I'm actually grateful we did turn around, because I think we all just hit our limit as we got back to the car. I think we were done.
Well, we could have done it, but it would have been dark. There would have been probably tears, punch-ons.
Well, I mean, everyone's energy was cooked by the end too. Like,
yeah, it was okay. It definitely pushed us beyond our limits,
yeah.
And for anyone listening, that hike will not be included in another one. There'll be an easier one. And when I was walking, obviously I want people to enjoy themselves there. And I'm like, fuck, Maddie's hating this. This was a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. But, you know, I did research on the trail, people commenting, being like, this is a medium level hike. No, it was like the hardest hike I've ever done.
Yeah.
And then I started justifying to myself. I'm like, you know what? This is the lesson Matt needs right now. You need to feel pissed off that you're doing something that you don't want to do, because you're not just going to go home and relax and the message is there. Sometimes putting yourself there and being like, can I relax when things are really high pressure? When I'm at my limit, can I relax in a moment like this? When we got home, the contrast of being out in that blistering heat, walking up hills, being pissed off, being thirsty. I think we stopped in a river on the way back and just sat there.
Yeah.
The contrast of being up the top of that hill, thinking we've got to walk back, compared to just sitting in that river and our feet were throbbing and we're like, that was so hard. But like, how did your body feel in that moment? So I started to frame it like that, which is just, I think you went into this a fair bit where there's a lesson in everything. It doesn't matter if it's a negative experience, positive, whatever. There's always something to be learnt. And so that's how I was trying to frame it to myself feel better. And it's good to hear you talk about it now with a smile on your face, to be like, yeah, it was useful in the moment, even though it wasn't the exact thing that you felt like you wanted.
And that's exactly right. And I knew that would come through, but when I was in it, I was just full raging. Hey, like I had to walk on my own. I remember all of you were having a break, and I was just like, I'm not stopping with these guys. I need to go past them. I just need to be on my own. But I really enjoyed that. I think it was probably releasing some feelings I was having about other things. But it was just a good mental battle for myself, because the reason why I just kept walking past you guys wasn't because I didn't want to talk to you guys. Like, I had nothing. What I was feeling was nothing to do with you guys or even you for organising that. It was just how I was feeling. But it was a good chance for me to take that on my own. And, you know, it was me in the mountain. I knew I had to do it. I knew there was no way around it. I just had to keep going. And so that's what I told myself. And when I look back on it, it's kind of that whole idea of you can go through challenging things, and sometimes it might not go to plan, and it can really test you out, and you could just, you know, roll over and say, this is too difficult, I'm going to give up. Or you just understand that you've just got to get it done, and then something good will come from it at the end. And for me, that the good thing that came from it at the end was when I had that first cold drink after I was done. It was like, it was 100 times better than any other drink I've ever had in my life. When we went for that swim in the river where we were, that swim felt like it was just the best swim I've ever had in my life. And then we went back and had the watermelon and then the beef chuck, and it just amplified all of these things by so much. And I guess looking at it, I think that we're all so privileged with so much of our lives, obviously on a different scale depending on the person. We're so privileged on so much of what we've got that we just take it for granted. And so to go through something that was quite challenging like that, mentally for me and physically for me, it really allowed me to enjoy things that I would just take for granted, which is just to be able to go for a swim or eat good food. I don't think I would have enjoyed those as much if I didn't do that hike. So everything works out for a reason, and it's a good lesson for anyone in their life, is that, yeah, when they are getting challenged or when things don't go to plan, I like to always try and look at, yes, it might suck, but the most important thing is that there's going to be something learnt from it, and that'll, uncover itself as time goes on. And looking back on it now, I was able to figure out the benefit of that hike, and yeah, grateful that we did it, even though it sucked ass at the time. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, no, that's man, so well said, and a great message for people. I sort of think the same thing. That the height of my most painful moments is usually where the clarity kicks in, because I'm like, I don't want this state of mind anymore. How do I fix it? So it makes it clear. That's why, like, you're in a moment right now where you're like, oh, which way do I want to go with things? And instead of rushing through it, I personally think it's okay to sit in it for as long as you need, as long as you're okay mentally. It's okay to sit in discomfort, because eventually it'll be so painful where you have to do something about it. So that's cool. It's a very, very cool lesson that you learn, and also for me to think about it from the perspective of running these retreats. Whatever happens, and things unfold, and that's what I think I like. Like, it's not a silent wellness retreat. It's not a therapy thing. It's about going out there and seeing what unfolds without external input, like without distractions around us. Like, there would have been so many missed opportunities if we had phones there. But because of our phones were locked away and we decided to do that and not check the time, things happened and unfolded, and it was just like, well, we probably in a parallel universe, we would have missed out on that if we were on our phone. And we're going to talk about this shit forever. If we went away and we were all watching shows and fucking, I don't know, playing board games and reading books because we decided to not do any of that stuff, if we went away and did that, we would have had a completely different experience, and we wouldn't have talked about reading a book now. Like, we wouldn't have been having this conversation, but we're talking about shit that we went and did and lived as a first-hand experience. And that's how I like to look at, like, social media and being on your phone. When you're looking at something, it's edited. So if you watch a video of me, I've most likely taken the time to curate a message, to edit it, to make it look good, to put music on it. It's not a reflection of how it was. Like, I just watched the video that Dylan's put together from our immersion, and it made me emotional. And I was like, I don't remember it being that good when we were there. It was good, but the video made it look fucking awesome. Yeah. And it's a good example of when you're living first-hand reality and you're not looking at shit through a screen, it's a way better human experience. That's what we're here to do. So cultivating and collecting as many moments of those as we possibly can, that's my message. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And it's so true. Like, social media, it's something I've spoken about at Safe Space for a while, is social media and a lot of what we see online is the best of everyone's world, everyone's life, everyone's business, and you're only seeing the good stuff. And then you start to reflect on your own life, and yes, you've got challenges and all this and that, and you start to go like, wow, everyone's got it so well off. Like, look at how good that is, look at how good this is, look what they did. And then you compare that to your whole life, and you're comparing basically other people's highlight reels to your whole life. And of course it's going to make you feel depressed and shitty, because you don't think or observe the fact that these people are probably going through their own shit, whatever that may be. You look and see their good stuff, and then you think that their whole life is just that good stuff. That's how good it looks. They're traveling, they're always doing this and that. And yeah, it affects your mental health, because you start to think what you're going through, you're the only one going through that, and you're the only one who feels that way, and it's dangerous. So yeah, just social media and phones in general, it's such a dangerous thing. But unfortunately, it's it's like what we're talking about before with what we want to do in terms of coaching or mentoring or whatever else. the online world has taken over, and that's just how things are. But it's like you're saying as well. It's just a healthier balance between both. When are you using screens or social media as a tool, and when are you using it for leisure? And leisure can be okay every now and then, but when you're doing it for hours every single day, you're probably using it too much. So it's just about creating a healthier balance. I mean, I know for you 1 minute's probably too long, but you know what I mean? Like for some people it's probably 6 hours a day. If you can get it to 2 hours, you're already winning. So
Yeah.
it's just being observant of that.
Man, that's to be I guess to be transparent and realistic, I do spend longer than that fucking around on my phone. And it eats me up inside. Like I feel sick if I've gone, I'm scrolling, it's been half an hour, and I go, what have I just done? Like I fucking hate the feeling. Like I said, do it once a week, yeah, maybe different. It's interesting how the less you do it, the easier it is to not do it as well. It's almost like this thing, the more it sucks you in, the more you've got to do it.
When you do it, do you know why? Because you're obviously so big on not doing it. When you are in those moments of scrolling without really any intention, do you know why you're doing it?
I've got so much on my plate. I've got so much to build and so much to do. And I think I do know why I do it. And that's a good question because I'm sure your reason's different. For me, I've created a business. I'm running retreats. There's something for me there's a message I can be getting out there to build this business. If I'm sitting there scrolling on my phone and consuming, I'm missing the opportunity to produce something, to create something and to share. The next thing is for me, okay, we'll start sharing more. That means you expose yourself to the world. People get to see your true colors, or people get to see where you're at, and it's a chance for judgment. And so this is something that I'm working through, and that I've realized that's why I don't post that much. That's why I don't share too much. Instead of just putting it out there and being like, oh, it's okay. My message will resonate with who it needs to resonate with, and I'll get better at creating content that's authentic and it's meaningful and valuable. And so when I think about time wasted scrolling or like just watching entertaining things, even learning, reading books, like that's a form of fucking masturbation around what I'm doing. That is almost like an excuse for me to be like, oh, okay, I don't actually have to put myself out there right now. I'm just going to fuck around here and keep myself busy, because if I don't do that, then I know the task at hand is to share my message. It's to share what I'm doing. It's to put myself out there. But I have this fear of, if I do that, I'm going to be perceived a certain way, because I've got issues around my self-worth, around levels of intelligence or levels of wisdom and what I know and how I can actually help people and how I can be of value. So that's like a thing that I know that I'm dealing with right now. So why should I be on social media unless I'm putting out there what I'm building? I really shouldn't be, but I am. And I think it's avoidance. It's me avoiding having to expose myself to the world because I'm concerned of like, I'm going to be judged, which is like, it's whack. And I know it's there, but that's where I'm at.
But it's also really interesting too. It shows how, social media is one of those things. It's like gambling, where it's like, it's created to draw you in. It makes you want to go through it and scroll on it. And to have someone like yourself who's so, I'll keep labeling you as anti-social media, anti-screens, even though obviously there's a balance.
Cool.
But
I'll get there.
Yeah. But the fact that you're still finding yourself doing that, even though you're so against it, shows how addictive it actually is and how easy it is to do that. There's just so much danger behind it. And I just thought it was interesting for you to say that and then to ask you when you do it. Because I know for some people, for me, probably more recently, end of last year, something I'm trying to figure out was I was feeling a lot of social anxiety for multiple things. And I was finding social media or just going on my phone or sitting at my computer doing my thing or just being at home. It was a safety thing for me. It was a way to escape from my reality and kind of you do disconnect with your reality, and then you start to connect with your screen, right? And so you kind of start to forget about everything else that's going on and just start to be with whatever's in front of you on a screen. So for me, it was a really easy and good chance to just escape reality, and that's why I was using my social media so much, or just using my phone for that matter. And I wasn't doing anything constructive. It was safer than it was to sit with my feelings and thoughts and the reality of how I was feeling and what was going on. So
like it's avoidance in your own way.
literally just avoidance. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm avoiding. I'm similar to me. There's things that I'm not processing and I can easily bypass. And so, yeah, me going away on my own and going to do one of these things, that's what made me realize I was doing that. When I was by myself doing the hut in the woods, I'd be like sitting on the couch, knowing my phone's in the car, knowing I'm there not to be on my phone. And I'd be like this as a reaction. And then when I was like, oh, I'm just going to let myself sit here and be bored for a second, I thought I need other people to experience this, to see how sucked in we all are, and you're talking into that right now. So that's why I decided to create an environment for people to go experience that, because like, how does it make you feel knowing that you could potentially look at your phone every day for the rest of your life, knowing that it's something that you use to avoid shit in your reality?
Pretty.
That's
sad,
horrible
eh?
thought, because that's years and years ahead of you. Yeah.
There's a video about it. I'm not even going to try and pretend the stats behind it, but it talks about your life, if you live for X amount of time, how much time spent sleeping, working, whatever, like traveling, whatever, and it tells you your spare time, and it's so limited. And then it talks about if you're on your phone, it takes up this much of your life, and then it shows how much time you've got left, and it's actually bugger all.
Yeah,
and
this
scary.
is the problem. When you frame it that way, it's spooky, but every day you just go on it because you don't feel that. That's what like freaks me out deep down, is we're not going to feel it enough to do anything about it, but it is enough to rob us of life force and opportunity and experience, like a certain level of consciousness or levels of just anything in life that we're doing. We're not going to know how much it's taken from us, so because it's so subtle.
I was talking to one of the boys that I mentor the other day. He's obviously got a whole story and background to what's going on in his world. But I asked him on our call, I said, oh, how much time did you spend on your phone yesterday? He said, oh, I'll have a look. I'll check my screen time out. Takes a second, has a look. 13 hours and 50 minutes. And I was like, dude. And I was like, do you feel bad about, like, what do you feel about it? He's like, nothing. I'm like,
How old is he?
17. Has autism and ADHD, so I think those two would be challenges that would, I feel like he finds a lot of safety in the screens, but he's self-aware enough to know the harm in doing that. And I talked to him, I said, mate, your whole life's going to be gone, and you're going to look back and that's how you're going to see your life. It was just all in front of a screen. And as much as I feel like he's quite stubborn with this sort of stuff, I feel like it actually got to him a little bit. I think he kind of heard and was kind of a bit like, oh yeah. But I don't think he understands, if he didn't have his phone or whatever else, I don't think he would know what to do with his time yet. So I think that's another thing to consider as well, is when, like, the phone is just a substitute for boredom or spare time, but some people just don't know what to do with that spare time. And so it's just easy to go on your phone because you can go through social media, you can play a game, you can watch videos, you can do whatever you want. So I think people are just starting to move away from having these hobbies and interests and things that can occupy their time by just being on their phone, because it's just easier. So it's just another thing too, like, how do people figure out what to do in their spare time?
How's the list I've got up on my desk?
Up
You read
there.
it before, and it says what to do less of and what to do more of.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, and I've got in there, to do more is to be bored. And you're like, be bored. I spelt it wrong.
Yeah, you did. Be bored, like plasterboard. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, a board would be pretty bored, right? Like,
Yeah, how boring. And like, I personally just think that if you're overloaded, if you're overstimulated, trying to work something out, but you're never given that intuition a chance to channel what's coming through, you're just going to build a life that is not true to what it is you're here to do. It's going to be built on, there's something else influencing you, because you're fucking checking shit, and then you just incrementally you build habits and poor, like, responses to certain stimulus. Like, I'm uncomfortable, I'm going to go on my phone. Don't get a chance to get bored, which means you're not going to address and process feelings or an interaction you might have had with someone that was a bit confronting. We're losing touch more and more. We're probably hanging on by a thread, our generation. The next generation, probably cooked, 17 years old, 12, 13 hours on his phone. Generation after that, probably even worse, because they just get born into it as well. So I experienced being at a bus stop, like playing with a stick and drawing on concrete with stones, and like that was my way to keep
Yeah.
myself busy. But I remember pondering so much when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, and when I was away, I got a glimpse of that, and I thought, oh, I haven't felt like this since I was 15. It fully came back to me, and then I thought, these are moments that are slowly going to disappear. That is ultimately what I think humans are. That's what makes us unique and magic and like really special, and that's what's disappearing more and more.
Mm-hmm. And I touched on a few things already about what phones cause us to miss out on, like I said before, about friendships, and you know, you see what people are doing, and you know everything. And another thing that it takes away from, which I think there was a moment on the trip, and I was trying to think about it before, and I can't remember it, whether it was a word or a statement or something, but you don't need to, there's nothing anymore that you can't access online. So if you ever wonder what a word means or what a statement means, or you know, you want to find something out, you just search it up. But there's no more of this conversation of just trying to work it out yourself, and just that fun around it. Like, oh, this word, what does this mean? Oh, don't know. It sounds like this, it sounds like that. You can kind of work it out, have a bit of fun and figure it out. And there's no more of that anymore, because you can just access everything online. And I think if you start to think further to that too, is just problem solving abilities too. Kids nowadays can just access everything online, get ChatGPT to make it all sound sexy, and then hand it in. By the time they become an adult, I mean, who knows? AI might just take over everyone's roles anyway, with work, whatever it may be. But there's going to be no problem solving aspect to their brains anymore, because they don't need to. Everything's online and everything can be done for them. So you lose that ability to be able to do that. It takes away a lot of the patience and the time that is so important to so many people too. It's like people are seeking that short-term satisfaction, and no one's actually taking the time to have a long-term goal and feel that satisfaction of actually patiently working towards something and seeing it come through, however it does. So there's just so much it's taking away, but because it's all happening, I say slowly, but it's happening quite quickly, because it's all just happening, people aren't observing it. People aren't actually taking the time to think about how it's affecting their lives or the people around them. And yeah, it's pretty detrimental. And to be honest, I'm sure that as soon as I leave here and I go grab my phone, I'll probably get home and I'll quickly see what's going on, and, you know, messages, emails, whatever. But yeah, it's just crazy to think about. And the more you think about it, the scarier it is. So
Yep, agreed. I think of the moment where you guys, there was a tree hanging over the river, and it was
wasn't
dead.
hanging down straight away.
It wasn't. It was dead, and so Matt was pushing it over, and then realized that like it had pretty deep roots going in, and then he was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty hard." And then you're like, "Well, let's have a look under here," and you started just dropping into the moment and be like, "Oh, it's all these roots go that way, and there's a big rock over there, and oh, I'm tired, Lockie, you have a turn." And then eventually you got the tree down. It was cool. You made a bridge, and that was a good process of like you could probably take a photo of that and ask chat like AI to like what's the best way to push this over or some shit. I don't know. So just outsourcing what's there for you to learn.
Or even just if you had your phone, you'd be like, oh, well, this is going to take too long. I can't be fucked anyway. I'm just going to go on my phone or do something different.
But that was one of the highlights. I know it's probably not great to disturb the environment like that, but
it's already dead.
it was dead. And that was one of my favorite moments. I just sat there, feet were in the river, and there was nothing to do, and I was just watching you guys.
Yeah, you were
like
egging
kids.
us on. Hey, I think we would have left it till the next morning.
Yeah,
like,
no, I was like, you guys nearly got it, and I was like, you don't.
No, you didn't. You were like, nah, you're not going to get it done. And I think that's probably what was worse for Lockie and I. We're like, what do you mean?
Yeah, but that's a cool example of, you know, I don't think it's entirely necessary for us to know so much to where things are going, and the point that you're saying people are going to get to. Brain processes are going to be different. So they might not need problem solving abilities. They'll need whatever suits the way the world is in 20, 30 years. And my message has been in a few of these where it's the point is we're not actually up to speed with the way things are evolving. So our biology is not keeping up with how fast things are moving. So considering how much potent artificial light we're exposed to outside of daytime, our body and our biology hasn't adjusted to that. And so we're reacting to this artificial stimulus that's affecting our body. So people can gain weight, get sick, circadian biology rhythm is interrupted, you get worse sleep, causes mental health issues. It's just this snowball effect. And in 20, maybe in like 100 years or maybe 1,000 years, our bodies have evolved and but we become a different thing then, but we're not there yet, and we're getting sick from it. So it takes thousands of years to fully evolve, and I just think whether or not that's a biological thing, or a nature thing, or even a mental process, I think that's going to take us way longer to catch up, and we might not ever. So then, I mean, I won't go too far, but that's when you sort of become dependent on things to keep you healthy and keep you happy, instead of just trusting that you know what the fuck to do as a human, because you know how to read the weather, you know how to trust your intuition, you know what foods feel good and when to eat because you're hungry, you know, like, I don't know, it's almost feels impossible to do anything about it because that's the world we live in. But I just don't think it's you don't just have to submit your potential to it and accept that, oh well, that's the way things are now, because we've just had an experience over the last weekend where we got a taste of what it feels like to really drop into how we thrive as humans. And you're not going to be that was a moment in time, and we're back into the swing of things. But having a taste of that and knowing that we need more of those moments, that's great. And so, yeah, what I suppose what I'll ask is, like, now we're back. Now you've had that experience. You've got the contrast of feeling a certain way, being away, eating well, feeling grounded, rested, coming home. You've already sort of spoken about it, but like, can you say that what's gonna never be the same for you again? What did you?
It's
what
a
have you
crazy way of asking it. I like it.
Well, what have you taken away where you'll always have this forever?
I think for me, just the acknowledgement that I need to do more things like that. Like more moments to slow down and get away from my phone and be around people who I love to be around. More of that stuff, I think, is pivotal to my life going forward. And maybe not necessarily waiting until it's like a crisis point where, you know, before I left, it wasn't quite a crisis point, but I felt very stuck, very agitated, I needed something like this. But I think more of that would be awesome, because I think for me, I went into it wanting more clarity around routine and structure, and it's something I'm still trying to figure out now. But what I've actually been able to observe is the importance that, for me, routine, how important it is for me. If I don't have routine, I think I can get a bit lost and stuck and don't know what to do. And that's when I can resort to just like, I'll just go sit at my computer and just do some work, even though I don't have a real intention to do anything, or go on my phone and, do the things that don't serve me well. So, I was touching on it before with you guys before we started, is just, I feel like I need to have a routine. I need to know that when I wake up, preferably no alarm, but I'm probably waking up a touch later than I'd like to, but get up, go downstairs, drink my litre of water, try and get outside, even if it's for a few minutes, just to try and, breathe in the fresh air and wake up, cook my breakfast. And then from there, maybe it's I go out for a walk and then maybe go for a quick dip, or just, dip my legs in the water. And, from there I'll go home and do a couple of hours of work, and then, around lunchtime I can have a break. What am I going to do in that time? So just trying to like create more structure is good for me, because if I have too much of that freedom and not enough of that, not enough of those direct step-by-step goals for something, then I often struggle. So I'm trying to make sure I don't start to ramble, but I think doing something like this is just really good to give yourself some clarity. I think going into it with some questions or some intentions is perfect, and then just seeing what drops in while you're away, in amongst just having the conversations with people as well. Obviously I spoke about a few things with you guys when I was away, and that was epic as well, but I feel like we just need to do more of that as people. And yeah, I'm not going to say I'm jealous of anyone who gets to do this retreat going forward, because I just know how good it is. And like I said before, you'll only ever do it for the first time once, and it will never be the same ever again, which is such a beautiful thing, but it's also so sad, because I would love to do that again for the first time. So yeah, I'm really excited for whoever gets to do it. But yeah, I think just setting an intention, going into it, seeing what lands, and then taking action when you get back. So,
dude, epic. I was actually a question came up as you were talking then, and I was gonna say, who do you think, like, if you were to say to someone or explain a kind of person who would enjoy this or who needs it, like, how would you explain, if you're doing ABC or if you're feeling a certain way, it would be worth you coming along?
I think anyone that feels, for one, like they're relying on their screen too much, or finding themselves just flowing through social media like it's nothing, would be one. Maybe someone who's feeling resistance in their life or feeling quite emotionally dysregulated quite frequently. Someone who labels themselves as too busy, doesn't have time to do anything, and is always just go, 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 potentially overworking. I feel like it's important for those kinds of people to actually take a step back. Because like I said, this is a perfect example of you don't need to add more in order to help whatever's going on in your life now. You actually need to strip things back, get yourself back to the foundation of who you are, what you're here to do, and then you start to implement the things that you know serve you well in a way that's a lot healthier than what you're already doing it beforehand. So I'd say those three. I think if you've got questions that you want answered but you don't know how to answer them, and if you just want to be around, awesome people who are going on their own journey and just supporting them, but having them also support you in a safe environment where you get to just explore the world and explore each other and whatever else, I think that would be perfect. So yeah, I'd say emotional dysregulation, people who are too busy, and people who are just going onto their screens too much. What do you reckon?
Perfect. Yeah, they're part of the. I've got a handful of people who I have in mind, and pretty much captures those. So I think it's pretty clear what you're going to get out of it when you do it. So yeah, thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
All right.
And that's pretty much it, man. Well done. I'm proud of you. I'm happy that you came, because like we said at the start, I know it was you had a bit of a decision making process to go through, and I feel like you made a good choice. And I'm actually really excited to see how things unfold for you, because you've got big plans, and knowing that you have these tools to use as you progress, I feel like as a friend or as someone who you've now engaged with in this format, I'm happy that you've got those to use to help yourself move forward, because you mentor people. You've already asked someone, hey, screen time, blah, blah, blah. You've already sort of shared the message, and that's cool. That just reinforces why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think the crew we had and having you there, it was a perfect way for me to test this out. And you are exhibit A of someone who has got a lot out of it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how you move forward and keep implementing these things and helping other people.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, thanks for doing it. It was great. It was cool to see you in it. I feel like you kind of just, I don't even know. I think for you, you had plans of things to do throughout it, but I think you just sort of settled into it yourself, and you kind of were just in a bit of a flow state and were just like, oh, we should probably do this, or, let's not do this time. And it was really cool to see you enjoy it as much as, we did as well. And every experience for you is going to be totally different, which is really cool to think about. But I'm just excited to see the people that get to do it as well, because it's an investment that's worth every dollar. And it's like going on a holiday on steroids, but in the opposite way, where it's like you're not going on a holiday and doing all these things, you're getting away
relax.
and just literally doing nothing.
Yeah.
And it's so necessary and so, I'm not going to say undervalued, it's just not done enough. And so, yeah, I'm just keen to see who else gets to go through it, and I'll want to do it again. I'll probably want to do it every time, but we'll see.
Same time next year?
Same time next month, yeah. For sure.
Yeah, sweet.
But I appreciate it.
Legend. Thank you, dog.
Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Is it about time we fuck or what? I really wanted to whip out a joke like that throughout. I'm like, nah, I'll just let it go.
No, we should have.
You reckon?
No, we'll get better at raw dogging it. That was hectic.
Yeah.